Andre, bro, you remember that client over the weekend? Dude, we got him pre-approved. I can't believe it. I know. Dude, come to the campus, meet at the grind. We need to talk. Let's have some coffee, bro.
All right, so we are back with my trusted vendor interview page, and today I'm super excited. This one is probably going to be like one of our biggest ones. I know it's going to blow up. In the real estate industry, one of the most important things is making sure that you have a good lender on your team. And I'm so glad and proud to know Andre from Golden Coast Finance, who is my preferred lender. Andre, welcome. Thanks for taking the time to tell us a little bit about the whole lending industry. But first, before we get into all of that, tell me a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into the industry?
Josh, first and foremost, thank you for having me, man. It means the world to me. It means a great deal.
Thank you for the coffee.
Excited. Yes. Coffee's always good for us. So how I got started, I was in the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps from 2001 to 2005. Coming out, I was scratching my head what to do, right? And I had a family friend who was in real estate. She was doing appraisals at the time. And she introduced me to a loan officer and said, hey, why don't you get into loans? My fiance at the time, who was my wonderful wife, mother of 2 kids, she was going to law school. And I said, shit, I have a problem here, right? I definitely need to step up to the plate. And I got into Countrywide. I started doing correspondent lending, secondary market, buying a ton of loans, funding a ton of loans every month, and working along that line. I ended up a year later at Washington Mutual, and I was at a branch with a great mentor. She got me into lending, said, hey, let me kind of guide you a little bit more in depth as far as how lending goes. So using my knowledge from Countrywide at the time, I took it seriously. I took it very to my advantage, and started doing loans ever since Washington Mutual days. So about 2006, 2007, wow. I started originating.
So you've been in this game for a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah.
That's so you've seen all of the different waves in the industry, right?
Absolutely, Joshua. Absolutely. It's been a very adventurous ride for the last some years, and the trends constantly change. Mm-hmm. Lending constantly changes. So right. It's been quite interesting.
So let's get into the nitty gritty. So I love connecting buyers with you, because I say, hey, you know what? Let's put a plan together. Let's see where we stand. Let's see where our buying power is, and let's get you pre-approved, and then we go and find you your perfect home. So tell us, what's the process of connecting with the client, and like what happens? If somebody who has no idea, like, man, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. Right. We make it really easy. So tell us a little bit how that process is.
So it's quite simple in my world. What I like to do is, when I'm connecting with the buyer, I really like to kind of feel out their wants. I really want to know why they're buying a home, right? And why they want to move forward and see what they qualify for. My preferred method that I always like to do is just call them. You know, I know texts are great, Joshua, emails are great, and people love responding to these things, and times are changing and all these good stuff, but nothing like an actual call.
Right.
Nothing like building that relationship with that client where I could have them trust our process, starting from a phone call, feeling out the client situation, and getting him to fill out an application. That's kind of the key to it all. You know, we could discover all these things about a client, but unless we have an application and everything that we require to give them the pre-approval, from pay stubs to running credit,
W-2s,
the whole nine, right? And we want to really make sure they're not window shopping with something in their hand. I want that client to really feel like they have ownership.
That we could put an offer in the same day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is so key to respond to that, because it's something to take very seriously. I want that experience to be the best they've ever had, and I want them to really feel comfortable. And believe it or not, I really want them to have even a simple knowledge of how home loans work,
right?
What lending is about, what having a liability is all about home ownership, right?
Right.
So going through those processes, giving them that pre-approval, they have that power of, hey, the ball's in my court now. It's just a matter of going out there now and getting a great realtor like you, and seeing what meets them at that point.
Right. So for somebody who's looking to maybe purchase their first home, what are some of the things that they need to have in order, or what are some of the things that you're looking for to make sure that we get a solid approval? Like, what are those things? Are we looking at, you hear this term season money, right?
Right,
What does
right.
that mean? Do you put some
Season
Lowry's
money.
on your funds, or how does that work?
So season money, Joshua, is money that's been sitting in your bank account for at least 2 months. What the lenders don't want to see is a quick $100,000 cash deposit in your account, or $10,000 or $20,000
That's not usual, or
Yes.
it's not normal.
outside
for
of the normal deposits,
Right.
that we can't verify, and we can verify it if you have proof of the source. If you had Andre, I'm a plumber, if you will, and I got 20 grand cash. The guy had cash and he gave it to me. Well, if you have an invoice, we could justify that large sum of money being deposited.
Right.
So
right.
they just want to see that money being seasoned for 2 months.
Right. So if somebody is constantly getting, let's say you make a lot of money, but you have a ton of money going out right away,
right.
that's not season money. So you need to let your money marinate in your
Right,
bank account for a while.
Very well said. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the
Simmer.
requirements, of course, along with your, W-2s, your 30 days of pay. They want to see the pay in there. They want 2-year history on the job. FICO scores, the biggest one too.
Big one.
Big one.
Let's talk about that.
FICO scores need to be healthy. And why do I say that? Because you get optimal pricing when your FICO score is higher, and you could get certain loans they look at from your non-QM, these bank statement loans. They want to see good FICO scores. That's their leverage for them. Outside of you qualifying on the one requirement for them, they want to make sure that outside of that bank statement, you have a good FICO score. Now, on the full doc side of things, like a FHA loan, they'll accommodate the lower FICO score, right? But sometimes pricing might not be optimal because of that also. So having the higher FICO score will always just put you in a better bracket. It'll give you more options also.
Right. And one of the main factors of a good FICO score is your debt to income ratio.
Absolutely. Debt to income ratio is such a key thing also. A lot of these lenders like to stay at 50% debt to income ratio, right? You're making 10 grand a month, 5 grand of liabilities should be the maximum, including your housing, right? On these Fannie and Freddie back loans, 50 is a hard stop, right?
Yeah.
FHA gives you a little bit more wiggle room in there. VA giving you the ultimate wiggle room in there. They're helping out veterans at the end of the day. So something I personally take very, very seriously, which is great. So bottom line is that debt to income ratio is really looked at very heavily also.
Right. So a good rule of thumb is 30%. You don't want to use more than 30% of your available credit, right?
That is correct.
That's how.
Very well, and that's how you score those higher FICO scores.
Right.
Also, Joshua, those are big key parts of it.
So if somebody's trying to work on their credit, you don't necessarily have to eliminate your debt, but you want to bring everything down so you're utilizing max 30%.
Yep, absolutely.
That'll bring up
well
your
said.
credit.
Yep.
Awesome.
So well said.
What are some of the other? Is there something else that we're missing, or what is another key component to getting on the path to home ownership?
I think talking
the
to a loan
market.
officer, a lot of times we connect our clients like that, right?
Yeah.
You meet these great clients and you connect them over to me. And one of the, I think, stereotypes in this business is like, oh, I don't make enough money, I don't qualify. Well,
Just assuming.
right,
Yeah.
right. It might not be today qualification, but it doesn't mean you can't have an action plan.
Right.
And to answer your question is, I really want to make sure that client is on a path of success to homeownership, right?
Right.
I don't make enough, I have too much debt, whatever the case may be, my credit score is not enough. It doesn't mean we still can't work with you.
Right.
It doesn't mean you should be turned down for that.
Right. Or like kind of give up on your dream.
Right.
Yeah.
We have so many angles. We have so many people we partner with in this business to trust and to make sure we're monitoring the customer to
Right.
make sure they can buy a home down the line. Right. So getting your income down, getting your job history down, keeping your FICO score healthy, keeping your liabilities low, I think these are all part of the path to success, ultimately to becoming a homeowner.
Yeah. And then as we close, I think an important key too is to get with a good realtor like myself who understands the market.
Yes.
Right. The market is always changing.
Yep.
And so over the last few years, we've seen interest rates incredibly low, but people were paying way more
My goodness. Yep.
for a house. So right now is a good time to buy because you can still get a good price on a house, and with a good realtor, we're going to negotiate maybe some closing costs, maybe
Yes.
a temporary rate buy down,
Yep.
all these different things. So talk a little bit about like the because you've been through all these different markets. How important is the market?
Right now, it's definitely on the buyer side. We have a little bit more control as far as what we can get, in a sense that seller concession being one of them, right, Joshua? We see that a lot, taking advantage of rate deductions, be it the 2-1 buy down, or buying down the debt on your own. I'm sorry, buying down the rate on your own. Price reductions.
Right.
These houses sitting on the market longer than expected.
Right.
And it's definitely, we hear again, to kind of, I keep repeating it, so many people say, oh, it's going to crash, it's going to do this. Well, can you afford the house? Can you buy the house? Buy the house,
Yeah.
right? We'll worry about interest rates later. As long as you could afford it, we're fine.
Right.
Right. So,
And that's the plan that we put together is
right,
how much do you want to spend or how
Right.
much can you afford,
right,
and then we go and find that house.
right,
And
right.
that's what I do. I go hunt that house down and I make sure
Absolutely.
we find the perfect house that you can afford.
Yep.
And then later on, if the rates come down, we refinance.
You can always refinance. Absolutely.
Right.
You could always get out of the rate. Important thing is grab the house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Grab the house.
It's and you said something that I think that's really big is this field is always changing. Lending will always be changing. Things sometimes go up, things sometimes come down.
Right.
The important thing is getting connected with the right realtor, with the right loan officer, and really having something in front of you, right? Really understanding, educating the client, having a great client experience. Clients more than ever have access to information online. There's a lot of misleading information
Oh,
online.
yeah.
How many times
Oh,
do
yeah.
you see with clients, right? It's crazy, but as a professional, I think our job is to make sure we're always engaging with the client, explaining to them everything. They deserve it.
Absolutely.
They're choosing us for a reason. I want to give back the highest and the best. So education and client experience, I think, is a very key component to this business, no matter what the industry does.
Right.
Be it low rates, high rates, whatever you want to call it. That client experience has to be optimal at all times.
Yeah. Has to be top notch. They want to walk
For
away
sure.
feeling
Sure.
satisfied.
Right.
And
Right.
happy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want them to be proud of using us at the end
Absolutely.
of the day. Right. I want them
We
to go
take
out there-
pride in what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Andre, it was a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for dropping such gems on us for the listeners. Congratulations on Argentina
Yes.
winning the World Cup. You want to show your new tattoo on your back?
I'd scare people, I think. I'd scare people, even though I'd love to, but I'd scare a lot of people, maybe. We don't want that.
Yeah. All right, guys. So if you guys have any questions regarding the current real estate market, what's happening out there, feel free to just reach out to myself, Andre. We would be more than happy to connect you and get you on that path. All right.
Call Joshua. You won't regret it, I promise you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you so much.
All right, brother.
Blessings.
Rich. Things are rich. Rich.
I love this Kulua, bro. Are we allowed to have this on the podcast?
Yeah.
They won't know.